Alright, what's going on, Forgotten Nation? I'm your host, FG, and this is the third take now, the third take I've done a Bit.TRIP Flux. As a matter of fact, this is already 3, I'm going to keep this nice and simple, because this is already starting to piss me off. The first time, the game got us stuck on the impossible first boss. There's a highlight of that if you want to see that. The second time, when I finally did start this, my microphone wasn't working. And I had to figure that out. Then, once I did get it working, I was muted during the entire introduction, which really pisses me off. So this is take 3, and we're not going to sugarcoat this. I'm just going to try it nice and brief. Final game in the series, Bit.TRIP Flux. Commander video is dead. Time to reach enlightenment. Now, the newest meta mode is meta. Why did I say that twice? I don't know. I'm pissed off here. Meta. Meta equals enlightenment. Highest mode to perceive. Hardest mode to get. I will try to get meta. Let's see what's happening to Commander video now. Alright, now that we're finally playing the game, everything's going good, allow me to explain a little more before anything else bad happens. So, this plays just like Bit.TRIP Beat, only we are moving from the right side now. And there is no game overs this time around. Commander video is dead, so for good reason there's no game over. So, should I get to Nether and lose, I will just restart each phase from the checkpoint that is. Now, this game introduces bonus points. You do not need them, and if you miss it, it does not impact you anyway whatsoever. But if you're going for the perfect, you do need to go for the bonus points. Now, as I mentioned before in my abrupt entrance, the highest mode you can get is meta, which means going from hyper to mega to super to ultra to extra to giga, all the way to meta. Meta is the hardest, and the final mode actually, you can get. And when you achieve meta, the background changes to reflect that. So right now, this stage is a reflection of the events that took place in Bit.Trip Fate. And you can see there's the linear path that we followed in that game reflected in the background now. And for every phase we go up, not only do the spectrums change and whatnot, but it helps to enlighten a little more what's going on. And so for meta, the background is going to be something completely different. What do I mean by that? Well, you have to wait and see. So, let's focus on the game and see how far we can go. Now, one thing I also did not mention is that this is going to be a semi-mute playthrough. The only times I will talk is, besides right now with the introduction, because I kind of got pissed off with the game's not working, the microphone stopped stuff. But, I will only be talking between levels, or should I fail a point. So when I get to the next checkpoint, I will be muting the mic and focus only on the gameplay. Alright, so I'll see you guys at the end of the stage. Alright, so this is where we're gonna end the first stage, because on the Steam version, the first boss is actually impossible to beat. I'll show you guys what I mean with this, with a couple of seconds of gameplay. So the idea here is this is essentially Pong meets Breakout, and you have to break out the other side, which represents Commander Video's anger from the past game. However, the AI program for the Steam version specifically is so broken that you will never get a single hit out of the other side, and only he can damage you. So it's a pretty broken game to say the least. So we're gonna skip to the next stage. And actually during this I had quite a couple of comments. The first was, "What's up, man? Joey, don't think I didn't notice you. It's good to see you, man. To think we're actually done with the semester of college. Getting ready for a nice summer break unless you're taking summer classes." I know I'm taking summer classes. But hey, that's the first year of college done. Another comment, this one actually caught me off guard. "Monkeys." Jake, I don't know what you're doing. He also asks, "How long are you going to stream this?" Jake, I got 2 more levels. This is like another 40 minutes. And also, are you done streaming? No. If anything, this has just started. So, with that in mind, we are past the impossible first boss, and we're going to start the next stage of the game, Perception. One thing worth mentioning is that this game tends to have subliminal messages. When you're in Giga, well not Giga, above Giga, Meta, you'll actually see some messages you can't see within the other modes. And throughout the game, you will see that the levels that you play through in all the games go backwards. I remember seeing Desperation during the later half. That was a stage in Bit.Trip Fate. So pay attention to those and you'll see we really are going from the end to the beginning. I'll explain more on that later, but with that in mind, we're ready to start the next stage. A bit of explanation though about the last one. These are some of the best cutscenes I've seen in the game because of its creativity. No game has cutscenes that supply a story that is based on shapes alone. The first cutscene was about Commander Video coming to figure out where he is, realizing that he's on his own and his friends are gone, including his love Command Girl Video. So now he's off on his own. We got in our comments, "We gotta stream together in the summer." Hey, I'm up to it, Joey. Anytime. Alright, but with that in mind, Commander Video's off on his own to discover what awaits him in the afterlife. And we are ready for the next stage now, so let's go straight into Perception. Alright, so one of the coolest abilities they added to Bit.TRIP Flux is the multiply ability, as it extends the entire paddle to fit the screen. But I only have a short amount to talk, so let's get back to the game. Alright, so we took care of the second stage, so a little bit of explanation. So, Commander Video comes across 5 different shapes, and those shapes are made to represent the 5 different games in the series according to fan speculation. Beat, Core, Void, Runner, and Fate. I don't know if I believe this theory, but that is what's been going around. And during this first phase, Commander Video is observing these different shapes, and it's the idea that these different shapes represent different kinds of people. Whereas Commander Video is essentially this brick-like character, we don't really know what these other characters are meant to look like, or their overall purpose in the spectrum of the Bit.Trip. But we know is that they are different, and Commander Video has much to learn about them. And the idea of the stage perception is about the growth that Commander Video has perceived throughout his journey. More specifically, Beat, Core, and Void. Now, with the meta phase, that is speculated to be the birth, or the conception more or less, of Commander Video. But I don't know if I saw that specifically, as long as we had the meta phase. And what we are going to experience next is a little more of enlightenment. So, of course, Commander Video wants to learn more about these shapes, but, of course, this journey is coming to an end, and all things end in stone. We are heading back to the beginning, and it all starts with the first stage of the entire series. We are playing through the first stage backwards. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just find out. Alright, now in the background, that is supposed to be, if I'm saying this right, I believe that's the second planet that represents the second stage in the series, the lava planet, but it's not quite as lava as it used to be. Alright, I did not mean to pause there, but since I did, I just want to say something. This is the greatest the series has ever gotten in terms of its music. The fact that it's... Sure, it's the Bit.TRIP Runner theme, but the fact that they're remixing it here, it's just, sends chills down my spine. It's amazing. Alright, so didn't mean to do that, but we're gonna go back into the game. It's ironic that they still decided to keep the right click is the pause button. This is one of my major complaints back during Bit.TRIP Beat, but they still have it here. It would have made sense to say it was like, I don't know, the middle mouse or one of the buttons on the keyboard, but they decided to make it the right click. And sometimes my fingers do get a bit finicky, especially times like this. Just a complaint, but it's something. But, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Okay, let's get back into it. Alright, we are approaching the end game of the Bit.Trip series. Now, before we continue further, we have the final bit of code. For those that have been following along since the beginning, and more specifically since Bit.Trip Runner, you have collected 2 out of 3 codes, and this is the final code for all 6 games, Runner 2, and all the soundtracks. If you missed any bits of the code, you do need to start with Runner and Fate to piece them together. With this in mind, this is the final bit of code for this giveaway I've been doing since the beginning. So, the final piece of code is as follows. And the microphone's on just to make sure. It is NZTXE. Once again, the code is NZTXE. And that is all 3 bits of code for all the games, Runner 2, and all the soundtracks. Best of luck to whoever pieced out all 3. And if you have all 3 pieces of code, go to Steam and redeem it. And let me know in the comments below if you've got the entire code and you redeemed the games, because I do want to know who ends up with it at the end. Thank you guys for tuning in if you were here just for the giveaway. And I do hope whoever gets a hold of games will enjoy them fondly, because this is a really great series. Now back onto the game itself. So, Commander Video has reached enlightenment, to a point where even reaching meta has nothing left to reveal to us. And now he has made it back to the beginning, the place he calls home. And it's here that we are going to see the end of the game and the end of the series. We are going to see what Commander Video learns of these 5 figures. We are finally going to reach home, and it's going to be game over. Well, the only thing I can do is stay silent, and I'll see you guys in the end. It's the end of the game. Wow. I am only a man. And that's the end of the Bit.TRIP series playthrough, and the end of the final game of the series, Bit.TRIP Flux. What you just witnessed was Commander Video returning home and ultimately accepting death. This is the end of the series. This is how it all ends together. I want to give some final special thanks to the creators of the games. They were known as Gaijin Games, but have changed their names today to Choice Provision Games. So to all the staff, I thank you for this series. This is an amazing testimony to just how great you can make a video game series be that's based around music, but also have a subliminal story they had to piece together piece by piece. We're gonna witness something happen within the end of these credits. Again, this is done by the BitShifter, this final game. He also did the first. Props to you, BitShifter, and all the artists that made these games great. And stick around for my final thoughts on the series. Alright, so that... Oh, my green screen's on the finky side. 1 second, guys. Let's pause this. Alright, that should about do it. As I was saying, that's the end of the Bit.TRIP. All 6 games have come together to create one massive story, as I've explained throughout the series playthrough. It's the story of a man from conception to death. The growth he witnesses, the anger he faces, the friends he meets, the demises that come out of it. The Bit.TRIP is a WiiWare game series that has created a meticulous story based around conception, perception, growth, death, acceptance, and all things that you could consider being part of what it is to be a human. This is the story of a human. He is only a man. Okay, again on my green screen. I'm just gonna ignore that. But no series that I know of, to say at least, has ever had such a meticulous crafted story that pieces all of it together to create one big message in the end. The Bit.TRIP is one of my favorite series of all time, and a testimony to how far video games have come. Now, sure, it was bitty, sure, it was chiptunes, sure, even though I played the games and I didn't talk over them, some could consider that the music may not have been all that, but I do stand by my thoughts of not speaking during the gameplay, because the Bit.TRIP is about music. 5 talented artists that built their music into the games. BitShifter I know was one of them, Bubbly Fish. I forget the rest, I apologize from the top of my head. I believe one was Null Sleep. But for what it is, the Bit.TRIP is one of my favorite series of all time. And I recommend that everyone try it, just because of the message behind it, the different types of gameplay. The music alone, I think, is great, but not everyone might have the same opinion of that. But that is it for the Bit.TRIP. Now, I want to give some thanks, because I didn't come with the perception of the game alone. There's been a lot of theories, a lot of speculation, and a lot of people talking about the overall story and mastercraft of the Bit.TRIP series. While I can't say to name anyone specifically, especially since I don't really know their names on the top of my head, I just want to know that there's plenty of people before me that have talked about the series and have pieced it all together. And if I messed up any bit of the chronological storyline to the series, if I messed up any key aspects, I do apologize. Those guys do explain it better. I know the first time I heard about the entire story of the Bit.TRIP was actually from a website blog, and they say in full detail about the series and what it all means. So for those that are experiencing the game or want to know a little more, please check out some of these documentary videos that talk about the Bit.Trip series. And you won't be disappointed, because I think they do a way better job explaining it than I did. Now, final thoughts on my playthrough of the series. As I said before, I still do stand by staying silent during some of these parts, because the Bit.Trip does center around some of the music. And that is very much so within the first game, this game here, and I want to say the second and third to an extent. The music does build upon the gameplay. And it was always centered to begin with before they started taking a free approach in the later games such as Runner and Fate. Music is a big aspect that makes the Bit.Trip, really. And for what it is, I think it is great. As I said before, lots of talented artists that helped with the games, and I think some of them even became popular because of the Bit.Trip series. Now, though it first started on the WiiWare, of course, you could play it for the Wii still. There's the 3DS, and they even released a PS4. The versions I played, though, were on Steam. And as you saw, the later games in the series are kinda on the broken side. Especially Bit.Trip Flux. If you're gonna play Bit.Trip Flux, please play the other versions of the game, because it's the only way to get past that first boss. And if anyone's watching over Choice Provisions, please fix your game. It's a great game, and people deserve to play it. I don't see no reason that we should be blocked from the first boss. The only reason I got through is because of a save file that I had way back when, because I actually played it on a different computer system. So for those that have a Mac, you might be able to experience the game without any problems. With that in mind, I think we're done here. If I had any regrets on the series as a whole, I wish I could probably redo Bit.Trip Runner, because that is a very hard game to commentate over while playing with all the stuff going on. And that does worry me with my future playthrough of Runner 3. Now, at the same time I am streaming this, a current video has already gone up talking about the connection between the Bit.Trip and Runner 2. And though some of you have watched it already, I do recommend it, because I do talk about the connections that the game has. There are spoilers, so if you haven't played Runner 2 yet, please play Runner 2. With that in mind, I think we're officially done with the Bit.Trip series as a whole. So stick around when Runner 3 comes out, and I'll be doing standalone videos for that as I play through the game. Hopefully everything's been built up to be, because I am very skeptical. If you want to know more about that, do check out the Runner 2 video. I talk about Runner 3 at the end of it. But I am skeptical towards Runner 3, and if it's going to be as good as they say it is. And I think that's it for me here. Look forward to more videos coming soon, and especially thanks to the fans that have been watching, because this has been 7 weeks I've invested into the Bit.Trip as a whole. 7 weeks of this. Oh, I'm sorry for this, guys. I even lost a couple of subscribers because of the same stuff. But that's it for me here. So thank you guys so much for watching the Bit.Trip series, and I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, that's the end.